My credit score's banging then. What?
No, mine's terrible.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yours must be 999.
Close.
Oh.
Hello, people, and welcome to Footasylum's brand new series, Bridging the Gap, all about the things you never learned at school. This is episode 1, all about finance. It's your boy Alhan, joined by my boy Chunkz, and we're here to learn with you.
To learn with you, because we actually don't know much about this.
Yeah.
That's why we're here too, because I'm actually very excited to learn. You know when a brother's got a suit on, it's serious.
Serious.
Chat to me, bro. What's your name?
Urban Financier.
Urban Financier. And what do you do?
I'm a private banker, so I look after
Yeah, you make bread.
entrepreneurs.
You make bread. You make bread?
In the UK.
Yeah. Serious stuff.
It's serious stuff, but it's important stuff. I enjoy what I do. I help innovators to meet their financial goals.
Oh, look the way he's chatting. I help innovators reach their financial goals. Yeah. So that means you're helping me then.
That's like, you know
I need to chat to you properly now.
You know when you see companies, that's like a slogan.
Yeah.
I help innovators reach their... You may as well leave because you're done.
It's deeper than a slogan, but yeah, in principle, that is what it is.
I hear that. Well, episode 1 is finance, and obviously we love our money.
Yeah.
And this was actually the episode that I really only care about, so you can watch your ones if you care, but yeah, man, episode 1 finance is what it's all about. You get me? But you good with money?
Yeah, I'm actually a great saver.
Is it?
Yeah.
That's good then, man.
think I'm
Do you
top
invest?
No, I don't. I don't
Okay.
invest. Not properly anyway.
You might say, but when you spend erratically or...
Depends on the month, to be fair. Depends on what, like I think my outgoings are pretty respectful, to be fair.
I hear you.
But that's the thing I need help with in terms of where to put the money in, etc. You know what I mean? So it's gonna be very interesting today, man.
Yeah, man. All right, well, we'll start with some of the basics.
Cool.
And then dive deeper later on into the show.
Yes.
Which is what we like doing in each of these episodes.
Yes.
How would we know? We've only done one.
All right, my bro, we're gonna go straight into the basics, yeah? Because I'll be honest with you, don't know much. So that's why you're here today.
Let's do it.
What is credit?
So credit, in the context of borrowing money, is the ability to spend to buy a product or a service with money that you don't currently have now, or choosing to use borrowing to buy something instead of your own money, but with the agreement that you'll pay the money back at a later stage.
With interest?
With interest, but interest in itself is something we can talk about, but credit itself is the ability.
Interest. Why? Why is that a thing?
APR.
All of them stuff, yeah. And the percentage rate.
If you look at interest in specific, there's 2 ways it could go, right? Interest, if you're a borrower, is the cost of you actually taking that money from somebody else. But interest as someone who's a saver is the incentive for you to put your money in a particular place. So it can work for you or against you. If you're a saver, you want the highest rate of interest. If you're a borrower, you want the lowest rate of interest.
Yes. God, I like him. He's teaching me.
So interest can go one of 2 ways. So if you're a saver, interest is the incentive for you putting your money with a particular bank or an institution. If you're a borrower, the interest is the cost of you borrowing that money. And that normally drives how much it costs you to pay that money back. So for savers, you want as high as interest rate as possible. For a borrower, you want the lowest rate of interest possible.
Yeah. And the person you're borrowing the money from, they can set the interest rate, right?
Correct. So the person you're borrowing the money from will normally dictate the amount of interest they charge you. And that normally takes into lots of factors, how much it costs them to provide you with the service and everything else that goes around it. But also, they look at you as a borrower and how risky you are to them. And that can sometimes affect the pricing as well.
And then if you're saving money,
Yeah.
do all banks have like a blanket, this is the interest rate and this is how much you're making over the year, or do different banks vary?
It all depends, because all banks have different requirements in terms of their capital needs. And so if a bank is particularly trying to bring in as much deposit as possible, they might offer a more attractive interest rate than a bank who's already awash with deposits and don't need any more.
So right now, for a young person who might be, saving some of their money in the bank, what's a good interest rate?
The reality of the moment is that interest rates are low. The Bank of England base rate at the moment, 0.1%. So it doesn't really get you a lot. And so I think the incentive for people is to try and look further afield to see how they can actually grow their money, which is why you start looking at things like ISAs, or people now looking at investments, something that will bring you a better rate of return than standard deposit accounts.
Yeah. But you can also have credit that first month might be interest-free.
You can. So there are various elements of attaining credit. So to incentivize people to take credit, they might give you interest-free periods, which always should be taken with caution, because normally what happens after that interest-free period is they normally hike up the interest. So for those people who consume it all very early and forget about it, end up probably costing them more than it should.
Yeah.
And that's just an incentive.
You hear about people, so one of the examples you gave were people using credit to buy things, but they might already have money, but they're still using money that they don't have. And you often hear of people giving you advice to say, take out a credit card and build your credit score. So what are the benefits of using credit for purchases, even if you have money to be able to buy it straight away?
So I think it's a really deliberate decision that people make. A lot of the time, if somebody, for example, goes to buy a house, that's a big purchase. And rather than buying that all cash, they'll rather use someone else's money to do it, because what that enables them to do is A, acquire the property they want or the asset, but B, use their own money to further their own goals and ambitions. So they use someone else's money to buy it, and they use their own money to do something else that would hopefully bring them a return as well.
But even if it's like a smaller payment, let's say you want to buy a bike or something, and you can pay it on your debit card, but what are the benefits with credit? Does that help build your score?
Yeah, I mean, we could look at credit scores as a subject, but I think the reason why people even use credit for smaller purchases is maintaining as much liquidity as they can for themselves. So if you've got £1,000 in your bank account and you want to buy a brand new TV, which costs £700, rather than using your own money to buy it, people might buy it on credit, because then it keeps their £1,000 in the bank and they can make those payments incrementally over an agreed period.
I can invest that into something that makes more money, and then...
And they can invest their own money into something else. I think what you have to really...
Invest? What's an investment?
Very good.
That's a little segue.
Put it there, son.
What's an investment?
Very good.
So the investment is the process by which someone looks to grow their money for the future by taking an element of risk in anticipation of getting a return. But not all investments can guarantee your money. So you have to think about it before you put your money into anything.
Okay, and I want to ask, how are you so well spoken? Because you're just literally hitting it. No ums, there's no ahs.
Been ready.
Yeah, you've been ready. What's that about then?
Elocution.
Whoa! I need some elocution lessons.
Is this finance or is this English class now?
All right, brother, can you talk to me about inflation? What is it?
Okay, so inflation is simply the rise of services and goods over a period of time, but also the fall in the buying power of your money or currency. So say, for example, an average basket of goods today will cost you £100. In 5 years' time, that same basket of goods might cost you £150. The change within that is inflation.
I hear you. And that's a reflection of everything in life.
Pretty much, yeah.
Because I'm not gonna lie, if I used to go in Footasylum back in the day, the shoes were cheaper. Nowadays, it's looking a bit tight.
It's inflation.
Yeah.
Freddos. Remember they used to be 5p?
Yeah. Freddos is a great example of inflation.
Dropped a good album as well. That kind of joke. I think it. But yeah, inflation, there you go, bro. We have basically the basic understanding of the financial world.
Or if you actually went on Chunkz' profile, for example, and saw him slim now but kept scrolling, that's also another version of inflation.
It's the change in price or weight or size or...
There you go, yeah. I've deflated.
Yeah, exactly. No.
Yeah. There you go.
So really, if you were a Fredo bar, we'd love you right now. Yeah. No, we don't love you, but... And he's ticklish, Urban Financier.
Stop, man.
So now that we've covered some of the basics, why don't we put it through to some examples and see if we can understand it a bit deeper. So, for example, Alhan, you've gone to get a mobile contract, but you've been declined. And you know that you can afford the monthly payments, but they've declined you. What are some of the reasons why you think they'll decline your contract?
Racism.
It's nothing personal.
Oh,
this is purely down to your finances.
All right.
Check the credit score.
I have a bad credit score, yeah.
You've got a bad credit score. So why is credit score important?
Because it's a reflection of the risk the person borrowing the money is willing to take with me. So if I have a good score, then that means I've been sensible with my money, I've kept up to date with my monthly payments.
Yeah.
And if I've had a bad score, then I'm a
Maybe not so much as that, but technically your credit score is almost your personal financial CV.
Can I just ask, so I know you're not taking a piss, how much is this monthly contract?
£30. £30 a month.
Oh!
But I mean, going back to your point you made, so your credit score is your personal financial CV.
Yeah.
And it tells lenders or banks or borrowers how you behave with money, your appetite for money, how much do you apply for credit, how much of your credit utilization do you use. So if you have an overdraft, credit cards, loans, etc., are you always at the upper max limits or do you use a reasonable amount? But also, do you make your payments on time? Do you miss payments? All of that is effectively what makes up your credit score. So it could be a combination of any of those things that could lead to you being declined for a £30 a month mobile phone contract.
So credit score only on credit cards or on debit cards?
I was literally about to ask that question.
It's a good question. So whilst this term credit score, it's deeper than just credit cards. So effectively, anything you borrow money for. So going back to
debit, so-
So utilities, water bills, gas, electricity, car insurance. If you don't pay it all at once and you pay it monthly, technically that's a form of credit.
My credit score's banging then. What?
No, mine's terrible.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yours must be 999.
Close.
Oh.
I think
997.
I think he actually gives the credit. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's more than just staring at a 999 credit score, but it's about the underlying detail behind it. So, are you actually making sure that you're meeting your payments in time? Is your credit utilization low? Someone might have a lot of debt but still have an amazing credit. Someone might only have a mobile phone contract and have terrible credit because they've got adverse history on that particular.
What about the debt bit? What did you say? So someone can have a lot of debt but still have a good credit score?
Yeah, absolutely.
And how on earth is that possible?
Because they manage it. So for example, if you have a mortgage and you've got hundreds of thousands borrowed, and somebody who doesn't have a mortgage and only has a phone contract, the person with the mortgage can have a great credit score. The person with the mobile phone
Makes
contract
sense. I
can
hear
have a
that.
terrible credit score.
And they've got more debt.
And they've got more debt. So debt alone isn't the issue,
My
it's
guy,
your behavior.
I like him.
Yeah, a
I
lot.
like him. All right, so let's say you're a young person.
Yeah.
What is a good way to build your credit? Because the things you mentioned.
Good question.
Yeah, thank you.
Good question.
Thank you. You mentioned things like car insurance or monthly payments on cars, home insurance. For a lot of young people, the only thing they might have is a mobile phone contract. So what is a good way that they can build their credit score?
I think first and foremost, maintain a healthy relationship with your general bank account. Because if your account starts going overdrawn, that also can affect your credit. If your behavior with your general checking bank account goes overdrawn or that deteriorates, that could also affect you. But if you've got a credit card, that's an easy way to start building credit.
Okay.
A lot of people take out credit cards to start building their credit score with it.
I took out a credit card during the pandemic.
Right.
And every time I make a payment, I just have a direct debit from my personal account to my credit account, and then just make small payments on that.
Yeah.
On the
Yeah,
credit
so
card.
if you were to buy like a washing machine, for example,
Yeah.
instead of just buying it outright, even though it costs you like £17 a month, you might as well just take it out on the credit card.
I think it's about the behavior and the principle. Don't do it for the sake of it, because what happens is the money that you did have could be consumed by something else, and then all of a sudden that money isn't there, but you've now taken out credit
Domino
and
effect.
you're struggling to pay it back. So I wouldn't encourage people just to take out credit just because.
Yeah.
I think there has
People
to
are,
be.
though.
No, but it should still be, like, if you take out credit for something, you should still be able to afford that. I mean, for me,
Yeah.
it's what Lethal Bizzle says. If you can't buy it 3 times, then you don't buy it at all.
Not many people buy 3 houses.
But I would never say that about a house.
Okay.
But a t-shirt or a pair of shoes.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
it's
you gotta
it's all within reason, right? Of
course.
I think
You just have to have disposable income.
But just to let you know, I do have 3 houses. But carry
Really?
on.
Wow, fair play, bro.
yeah, absolutely.
I've been to 3 different houses before in my life.
But it's exactly that. I think it's all relative. That don't take credit just for the sake of credit. A lot of people rely on it because they haven't got disposable income, and so that is their means of survival.
What do you think is, I mean, you work with a lot of, influential people and, people that are good with their money, that's why they're at where they are, but there's common mistakes that everyone can make in all walks of life. But what do you think is like the biggest waste of money? Because I've always thought it was cars. Because whether you buy a car outright, the minute you drive out the showroom, it depreciates, monthly payments towards it. I just feel like cars are a waste of money. But what do you think the biggest misconceptions are with people putting their money in the wrong places?
Well, firstly, I would say that people who are famous or popular aren't necessarily good with their money. I think everyone's got an advisor behind them to help them. And a lot of the time, for people at home, haven't got that support. And so they assume that they're the only ones who can't manage their money. I think everyone needs a bit of help sometimes, in actual fact. But the biggest waste of money, I think it's the things that you can't really account for. Think back in your early years, or even look back at the last 5 years and think, what have I spent money on that I can't account for now? When you look around you and you think, that's just gone into thin air. I mean, cars is something that's an obvious one to look at because we all know it's a depreciating asset. Unless you're buying a classic car or you're buying a one-off limited edition, which is in the hundreds of thousands. But if you're buying a mass-produced car, Mercedes, BMW, Audi, whatever, the truth is, in a couple of years' time, that will depreciate.
It's true.
As someone bought recently.
Okay. I don't buy nothing. I also like designer clothes and stuff. Innit?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, look, I think...
Very silly.
Look, we have to live
Right
at the end of the day. I think you can't hug all your money and do nothing with it. But I think you've got to be mindful of the things that you buy.
Yeah.
Like I said,
I often see people cutting back on, the basics in life.
Yeah.
Instead of going and getting a drink or whatever, they'll make one at home. But I find that stuff boring. So how much of it is about saving money and cutting down how much you spend or making other revenues?
It's about discipline. So if you budget your money every month, it's not a case of about starving yourself from all the luxuries in life, because when you die, you can't take it with you. It's about being able to manage the money you spend, setting yourself a budget for the month and think, how much am I going to spend on entertainment, eating out? And how much am I actually going to put to use for the long term? So I don't think it's about starving yourself of any luxuries, but it's about knowing how to budget and set funds aside to do specific things.
Have you got any other examples for us? Because you slagged me off about my phone contract. What's he got declined for?
It's not about violate the mandate today. It's about learning about finance.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Easy for you to say.
What's that about?
Because I couldn't afford a mobile phone contract.
Well, you can though in real life. In theory, it's all about theory.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, well, so look at another example then. So rather than trying to get a contract out, if you earn, let's say, £2,500 a month. Now I know that, after 2 million followers, that's probably how much you spend on toothpaste, but just pretend, humour me for a minute.
I don't.
It's actually 3 bags. Carry on.
Okay, I was close.
Yeah.
What's the best way of working with that money? A lot of people have this idea that you have to save a certain amount or a set amount of money every month, but it has to be very individual. If you have rent or a mortgage to pay, that will normally take precedence over everything else. Yeah. And so I can't tell you that you should save 80% of your salary every month, because that's not possible if your rent is 60% of what you earn. But it's being able to budget and say, right, what are the essential things that I have to spend money on every month? I personally have a budget planner that tracks a whole year ahead. So I know how much I'm going to spend in December. Give and take, big events or things that aren't foreseen.
Does that include the presents for everyone?
It includes presents and birthdays. It includes discretionary spend. So you've got commitment, you've got committed spend, you've got discretionary spend. To the best of your knowledge, of course, things come in.
I think that's too organised, though. I like being spontaneous.
Oh, absolutely.
Just randomly spend a little 40 racks. Just
and then sometimes you go in the bank and a zero. Yeah.
Yeah, but not me.
I don't like those surprises.
I've never been at zero, broski. I've been real with you. Thank God, I'm not stupid.
Yeah.
A lot of people think because obviously we're social media influencers, we're gonna just go broke. You know what I mean? I'm not. Nah.
Yeah.
I know what I'm doing.
That's why please don't cancel us.
Yeah. If you do that, then it's long for me.
Yeah.
But don't do that. I haven't done anything wrong.
But it's the discipline, and I think as long as you've got the discipline, it doesn't need to be that well organised. But I think for a lot of people who are trying to, get a grip of where their money's going, because that's the biggest thing for people. I don't know where my money goes. Well, you kind of do, because you spend it. If you have a budget and you can see what you've got outlined coming up for the next month or two, it helps you to know where to put your money.
I hear that.
Well, obviously, you can't always prepare for random shocks. So, for example, like a funeral or something, or
exactly.
You know what I mean, stuff like that.
But that's why you should have money saved, isn't it?
But that's why you need rainy day funds, really. I think what's happened in the last year has taught everyone that.
Yep, definitely.
RDF.
What's RDF?
Rainy day fund.
Oh, fair enough.
Acronym.
That's a nice acronym.
You get me? Well, I was gonna say, my biggest outgoing this year was actually parking tickets, but not. If I got a parking ticket, see me, I think life's like GTA. I'll just park on the pavement and just think nothing's gonna happen, but then I'll come back to a clamp and a ticket or whatever. But I forget to pay it because I'm just very, very bad at management and things like that. So I won't tell anyone about my ticket to sort it out for me, or give them my card and say, I beg you, just pay that. And then it'll get to the point where it's £130 because it doubles, you've got 14 days to pay it. Yeah. And then I'll ignore that one. And then you get letters. So there's been a couple times where, I've accidentally brought bailiffs to the house because I actually owe money to Westminster or something. But I think this year I've spent a very good chunk of my income on parking tickets. But I'm good with everything else. My mobile phone contracts, I'm not in overdraft. I pay off all my other monthly expenses, bills, insurance, everything else.
What are you getting at, bro?
No, I'm saying, if I'm good with all that money, but I've got all these fans coming to the house and maybe a court order or whatever, does that fuck up my credit?
Yes. So that could potentially...
Could have just asked that.
Yes.
Well, I had to tell a story. I was going to tell him what car I drove, but he didn't ask.
What car did you drive?
Urus.
Okay. Well, I think the CCJs is what you should be aware of. So county court judgments, which can come on the back of your parking
criminal,
tickets.
how do you know about that? You should know that because obviously it makes sense for you to know that.
Yeah, but he might know because he's probably got letters that say CCJ pending on them.
Yeah.
I mean, look, the key is really to pay off these debts as quick as possible.
All right, but does that fuck up my credit?
It can do, yes.
The credit's probably dry then.
Dry.
I'm telling there's bailiffs at your cribby.
All right, so we've spoken about credit and learning how to build credit if you're young or whatever, but what if you already have bad credit? How do you solve that?
So the first thing is not to bury your head in the sand. A lot of people recognize they've got bad credit and they just basically try and turn a blind eye to it. You have to confront it head on. So if you owe money to people that you haven't paid, you need to get in contact with them, arrange plans with them to ensure that you can pay the money over time. If, worst case scenario, Citizens Advice can give you free impartial advice. You go online, you speak to them over the phone if you need to, and they can try and figure out something to help you on your personal circumstances. But ultimately, it's about setting a plan and saying, right, why am I in this scenario? It's not a surprise because you can now get, your credit report online. Various providers can issue what your report is and where the issues are, and you can get in contact with all those individual companies and try and figure out a way forward. And once you start making payments and setting plans in place, you can start getting out of that situation.
How do I check my credit score?
You can go online. So there are, well over 10 providers where you can get a free credit score.
What's it called?
Experience is the best one, isn't it?
You've got Experian.
Obviously, other.
Yeah, well, this is it.
Mine is shambles, I'm not gonna lie to you. Makes me feel sick. You know when you get an email that tells you your credit report, I deleted it.
Yeah, see, that's the point I made about burying your head in the sand. You have to confront it head on.
Okay, cool.
Confront it head on.
Because it doesn't get better when you leave it alone.
Yeah, what's it, 769?
Are you mad?
Wow.
It's like 10.
Oh, wow.
I think.
So you can't even rent out a movie.
No, well.
You can't even go Blockbusters, Aki.
What he said about the mobile phone contract,
yeah,
he's based on a true story.
Oh, that's right. That's why it hit you different.
Yeah, it went £30, it's 29.
Yeah.
You get me? But yeah. So what?
You could probably take out a spaceship.
But, yeah. No, he could probably clear the world's debt for banter.
Yeah, for banter.
And then just give it back.
Yeah, normal.
Yeah.
That was a bro me some peace. What's going on?
Yeah, what's going on?
Huh?
Hey, man said how like he didn't hear.
What did you drive here today?
I took the Addison Lee.
Oh.
That's for different cakey man stuff. We drove here like normal.
Yeah. I bet you make your teas with Fiji water and just pour it into the kettle.
That's assuming that I make them myself.
Oh.
Man said he gets people to make the drinks for him.
It's just about the interview.
He needs to chill out. Yeah. I want to work for him. But no jobs there, man?
Yeah, it could be something.
All right, my brother, so if I was to ask you just to give 3 tips to the youngsters growing up now in our society, what would you say?
I think first and foremost, look after your money. When you're young, I think there's a pressure for you to put that money to use as quickly as possible to try and grow it. There's a lot of talk about investments and cryptocurrencies and on all these things at the moment. Just be very mindful where you put your money. If you look after your money, that's the first important rule, right? Because once it goes, it's gone. But if you're looking after it, at least it's there. If it's not growing, at least it's there. The second thing I would say is your credit score matters. And the sooner you can start putting that in check, the better. It's not something that you want to wait until you're trying to buy a house and then you realize all the skeletons in the closet. The younger you are, the more time you've got to correct your mistakes. So actually, if you start off with the right path now, it'll make life a lot easier for you. And the last thing I would say is don't try and live the life of others that you're seeing because you just don't know where people's source of wealth is coming from. And you're in competition with the unknown. So you have to sort of be confident with what you've got and don't look outside for validation of what you're doing with your own money.
A lot of these big millionaires are actually in debt. I've seen it.
Okay.
Seen it.
Have you seen it?
Yeah.
Wow.
So you haven't paid the parking tickets.
Yeah. You get rushed in about 11.
Thank you very much for the informative evening, sir. It was absolutely excellent, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Did you learn quite a bit?
Credit scores.
Yep.
We're going to go home tonight and log on.
Yep.
www.creditscore.com.
All of that.
/Alhan and Chunkz.
Yes.
And we're going to find what our thing is.
Yep.
Reach out to all the people, whoever we owe money, pay that back, whatever, cool. And start managing for the future. So when time comes to buy a yard, it's your neighbours.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. My brother, you have anything to say?
I think for me, it's just to read as much as you can. Information's free. You can go online and find out about everything that we've discussed today. I have a blog that includes a lot of articles about credit, how to buy a house and all these different elements. urbanfinancier.co.uk or Instagram Urban Financier.
There you go. You can check that out in the description down below. Or make sure you comment, like, subscribe, and comment any questions that you don't understand still. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Anything you didn't learn at school.
Yeah.
Anything you're struggling with or trying to get your head around.
Alhan's going to help you.
Yeah. We are here to grab the experts and solve them problems with you. And again, at the same time, we're learning.
There you go.
You get me? And we are Bridging that gap.
Yes, over and out. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Take care.